not working at all. It's not working. Oh, back. Okay. And this is a laser pointer. It's also not working. Nice. Okay. Anyhow, I try my best to explain it without a pointer. So the European electricity is basically divided into different markets. The one is the wholesale market, which is the market between participants, which can be directly accessed through the power exchange like EPEX or Nord Pool, things like that. And the second market is the balancing market, which is the market where the TSOs acts as the only supplier. And in the wholesale market, you can basically place your bids years ahead in the future and forward market, or days ahead for the next day delivery. And during the intraday market, there's basically or mainly a fine-tuning of second. The balancing market is where the TSO procures frequency response services, mainly in Europe, and this is true for almost all countries in Europe. UK is a bit different. FCR, which is the fastest response, and then AFFR, it's automatic response, and MFR, which is the slowest, which is a manual response. And they are procured by the TSO day ahead as a capacity. So FCR is only capacity service, and during the day of delivery, it's procured as energy. So FRR is mainly procured as an energy service to maintain the grid frequency at 50 Hertz. Finally, there's the imbalance settlement, which means that imbalances in the system are settled, commercially settled to manage demand and supply in the system. Next, please. So this slide, I want to show the journey of the trading stream of a battery asset or any energy asset as well, how it fits into these markets. So next, please. Next slide. So it starts at 8 o'clock in the morning, gate closure for FCR capacity for the next. Here, it's a bit hard to see, the 10 megawatt battery asset, and the capacity is allocated for the next day delivery. Next. At 9 and 10 o'clock in the morning, there's gate closure for AFFR capacity auction and MF, the manual response capacity auction for the next day delivery. And this is allocated, so it's planned at the battery for the next day delivery. So this is how battery optimizers are working to optimize the output, the revenue of a battery. Next slide. Then during the wholesale energy auction, you have the day ahead bid at 12 o'clock, gate closure. There you are bidding energy position for the next day delivery. And then at 3 o'clock and 10 o'clock in the evening, you have the intraday auction, 1 and 2, for the fine-tuning of the next day delivery as well. Allocated 10 plus and minus for discharging, charging the battery. Next, please. And then you have the intraday auction and the AFFR energy. That means you also been allocated over the whole day and 5 minutes before delivery. Next, please. And here as well. So this is how the algorithm trader, I explain later what it is reshuffling the allocation all day long. So next slide, please. This is how these markets are structured in the whole Europe. So there are basically two types of opportunities. The first one is the merchant opportunities, which I just explained, is here on the left, the day ahead and the intraday market, which are available in all European countries from UK, Finland, Nordics, Netherlands, Eastern Europe, Germany, all markets. And the other is the ancillary services, which I just explained, FCR, AFFR, MFR, which is also available in most of the countries. Only here, Eastern Germany doesn't provide MFR right now, or it's not integrated into the system. So these are the merchant opportunities, and there are others coming, the Black Start services or System Inertia, which started this year in Germany and are coming soon. The markets I explain later. And as said, it's opportunities. This on the right. These are basically capacity markets. In some markets in Europe, you can bid capacity, or in Germany, there's hybrid auction. It's called innovation tender, with some risk. Where is the tender in Italy yesterday, and 10 gigawatt hour were secured by different utilities. So two types of opportunities, merchant, contracted, and mixing these finally is the idea to maximize battery revenue. Next slide, please. So how does the revenue stream of a battery asset or a battery project looks like from chemistry, from the battery cell to the market? It finally consists of the route to and the asset layer, which is cell, pack, and battery system, and the KPI, depth of discharge, SOH, availability, uptime, which have to be managed and tracked, and the software layer with the battery management, the energy management, which is connecting to the trading software, to the trading layer, through to market layer. And the performance warranty, as I mentioned, is crucial to maximize, to optimize the revenue. I will explain it in a bit. So how is the revenue flow or the value chain for the manufacturer adding the battery to the battery owner? The battery owner can be EPC or IPP, is building and operating the battery, and the battery optimizer, and the trader finally, is dispatching, as I showed before, the battery market signals to the customers, and is being the interface to the power market. And the battery optimizer is finally maximizing revenue based on its own strategy and trading algorithms. So this is the idea. Next slide, please. And in the battery space, there are typically 4 types of battery optimizers. One group is coming from the big utilities like EDF, Vattenfall, RWE, which have energy trading in their DNA, so they know it, they have the balance sheet to do that. Second is the oil and gas industry. They typically trade gas and oil and not electricity, but they have experience, and some are moving into that space as well. Then there are the battery OEMs, Fluence or Tesla, vertical integrated. They have everything in-house, including the software layer, the route to market layer. So, but these are just a few. And the majority now is the lower. These are the algorithm traders or optimizers, which are many right now in Europe, which are doing exactly that. They are optimizing the battery allocation or the capacity allocation and the trading of the asset to maximize the revenue. Next slide, please. Next. This shows a non-exhaustive map of Europe, showing the battery optimizers I just showed. Yeah, it's not complete, but it shows that many, I had a pointer, many are located in Central Europe. So there are many of new startups popping up like mushrooms in Central Europe, in Germany, in the Netherlands, in Austria, Switzerland, some in the south area, and some in the Nordics. And famous ones are, for example, Inspired. We are cooperating with Inspired, Entrix, Sweena, and in UK there are some well-established battery traders as well, just to give you an idea how many we have in Europe. Next slide, please. And this is some real performance data of Inspired, our partner, of their battery pool, their battery fleet, and it's not easy to see. The revenue the battery obtains in cross-market trading. Cross-market means, again, trading in intraday, day ahead, FCR, FFR market, and even capacity, if available, optimize the revenue. And it shows the revenue stream of the last year, roughly. And you see that it's moving. So this is typically in summer you have higher revenues because you, due to high irradiation, more solar generation, you have more volatility in the market, and you can earn more money with your battery. In autumn and winter time, less sunshine, sometimes little wind, the revenue is reduced or less. And here again, and here you can show there's a dip. That means high, simply because we had very little sunshine in July in Germany. So this had impact on the achievable revenue. And these are real data. And on the right, just as a comparison, it's even harder to see here, but I explain it. It's a revenue index from German university, Aachen University, which simulates the maximum possible revenue of a given asset. In this case, a 2-hour battery with one battery cycle per day. So, and it shows it's pretty much the same. So in cross market, July or August, you achieved maximum 200,000 euro per megawatt per year. In real data. Next slide, please. Now I'll explain why the flexible warranty is so important for the battery optimizers to maximize revenue in the European market. Next slide, please. This shows, here, pointer. This shows the integrator assumption, so how we or other battery integrators are seeing the reality. So that means you have, when you charge and discharge a battery, when you cycle a battery, you have full charge and discharge cycles. So here it's seen lower as a state of charge. So you fully charge and discharge your battery and then have a resting period. And then after this resting period, can be 1 or 2 hours, again, charge, discharge, and charge to 50%, and then again resting. So this is how we as the integrators, battery industry understands how battery is cycled, is treated in the market. But this is not true. So this is not, there's a mismatch between assumption and reality. And here on the left is how a battery optimizer like Inspired is treating the battery in the market. So it's a permanent cycling, microcycling, charging, discharging, and the state of charge it's going up and down with small peaks and so on. So what they need is flexibility. Typically, most of the battery suppliers, they don't offer this kind of flexibility. They give a fixed set of cycles per day, 1 or 2 cycles per day, saying resting period between the cycles and the maximum
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
In simple words, just some basic limitations like a maximum C rate and this time window. And finally, in this window, he can cycle the battery as needed, as the market signal expects it. So this is the idea. It's currently under development, will be released next year, beginning of next year. And it's not only us, also other battery suppliers are going a similar way, because this is the market need. And this requires a very deep understanding of the battery itself. So that's why it's not only going into risk and offering this warranty. You need to know what's the real-time state of health and the real-time state of charge of the battery is, to finally model and forecast the exact values to not run into much risk. So that's the idea, but this is just a short side note, what's next. Next slide, please. Okay, I don't know how much time I have. Okay, good. Then finally, coming to the outlook, what is changing in Germany right now in terms of new markets, ancillary services market, like inertia, system inertia, and black start markets. Next slide, please. So, as we are in Germany and in other countries in Europe phasing out fossil power plants like coal or gas-fired power plants, we are losing natural system inertia. So this is crucial. I don't go here into the technical details, but finally, with the high penetration of renewables, which do not naturally provide this kind of inertia, you need to, or the TSOs, the system operators, need to procure it from market. And for example, grid forming inverters can participate to provide natural or synthetic inertia to the system. So this is also what we are doing as Huawei. And the timeline is that this year it starts the offer submission in Germany, and then there's a checking of the offers and the awarding process, and finally, earliest next year, probably a bit later, the first assets go live and provide system inertia. Can be battery, and there are two products mainly which can be offered into this market. It's the basic product, which requires an uptime or availability of minimum of 30%, and a premium product which requires higher uptime, so more availability of 90%. And then in both directions, positive discharge and negative charging the battery could theoretically participate in all these four products finally. So positive, negative, basic, and premium. So next slide, please. Same for the black start, due to the phase out of fossil power plants, which are typically being activated in case the black start is needed, which is almost never in Germany, but theoretically could happen. So it's by law, the TSOs have to provide it. And due to the phase out of the fossils and the strong release or integration of renewables, there is an auction, a tender now started last year to procure these kind of black start services from assets in the market. Again, can be a battery with grid forming inverter, can also be gas-fired power plants. So it's technology open finally. And where do we stand today? Germany, North Germany, South Germany is split into different regions from the 4 big TSOs we have. And for these regions, each TSO has to procure the right amount of black start service. And finally, the battery can bid into this auction and make good money out of it. Next slide, please. So I briefly mentioned it already. What do we offer as Huawei to serve all these needs? Next slide, please. This is our solution. It's end-to-end all-in-one solution from the battery container to the smart inverter, the grid forming inverters, the transformer station, plant controls, so the connection to the grid finally, and the end-to-end digitalization. So the whole package we offer And finally, on top comes next year the flexible warranty, which I described. And we cooperate with Battery Optimizer to maximize the revenue of each asset. And if you're interested, I don't go in details here, but definitely please contact our sales team here in the region, and they can explain you the details on what we're offering here for Chile and other markets. Next slide, please. So here, finally, some success cases, some successful projects we delivered in the last years, which are ranging from standalone batteries to co-located or hybrid power plants with wind or solar, grid forming, without grid forming, grid following. So every type of projects in different altitudes, different harsh conditions, we have realized and tested. Yeah, quite successful, I would say. And I think in Chile, there are also upcoming projects in the next years. So please stay tuned what's coming here. Next slide, please. Next. Good. Then I'm almost done. I hope I'm almost in time. So a summary. So try to explain how the European electricity market is structured. There are basically two types of markets, the wholesale and the balancing market, where a battery asset can bid into. And I describe how this works over the day and why the performance warranty, the flexible performance warranty, is so relevant to maximize the revenue and to fulfill optimizers' need. And as an outlook, that there are upcoming markets in Germany and other countries in Europe are following definitely for Black Start and System Inertia. And we are offering the right solution for that. Okay, that's it. Thank you. And again, sorry for the delay. I hope we can move on now. So thank you very much.
Muchas gracias, Jan. Thank you very much, Jan.
Thank you very much, Jan. Now we would like to give the floor to the moderator of this session, Cecilia Correa from the IABB, and we are also going to be calling Camilo Charme from Generadores de Chile, Marlo Codelio, Jordan Eridon, Marta Cabezas Vargas, Superintendent of Electricity and Fuels in Chile, Esteban Van Dam, Director of Airways Renewables, and Pablo Torres from Renewable Energies and Batteries Chile. Cecilia, please go ahead.
Yes, you have one of you. Bueno, muy buenas tardes a todos y todos.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It is an honor for me to be able to welcome you to this panel, Solutions for Flexibility of the System. This is an event that is gathering many different areas, many different people in this same sector. So the energy development is something very important for the energy transition in Latin America and the Caribbean because of several services that we can provide, because of the flexibility that we
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Como es el caso, por ejemplo, de Barbados, que se encuentra actualmente en etapa de preparación de dos proyectos, regulatorio y proyecto de
Recording in progress.
el despliegue de almacenamiento en América Latina y el Caribe. Entonces, les invito realmente para aprovechar este espacio de diálogo y aprendizaje. Y para iniciar, quería la dinámica de hacer primero unas preguntas individuales y después pasemos a unas preguntas para todo el panel de forma más general. Entonces, para comenzar con Camilo, representante de las generadoras de Chile, queremos conocer un poco de la perspectiva de las generadoras. ¿Cuáles son los principales problemas operativos del sistema solar y cómo contribuye al almacenamiento de la flexibilidad y seguridad del sistema? Algunos puntos ya fueron comentados en la presentación anterior de Jan, pero seguro que tienes para agregar bastante de ahí.
¿Aló?
Pero el micrófono.
Un dos. Ahí sí. Bueno, buenas tardes, muchas gracias por la
Well,
invitación.
good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for the invitation to OLADE. I am Camilo Charme, Executive Director,
Representamos al segmento de generación.
and we are representing the generation sector of Chile for 14 companies in this area. And as a general context, in Generadoras de Chile, in Chilean generators, we have different types of technologies. We are technology agnostic, so we think that all technologies to generate electricity and to manage electricity are part of our analysis so that the system can work in a secure and efficient way. So in this sense, the battery systems are part of the general storage. We have batteries as an alternative. We're also checking storage for long term, for example, a pumping dam. So one of the problems that we have with the batteries that we have in Chile is that these are batteries that last for 4 hours. So they're more tactic than strategic. Now, what I would say is that in Chile, we have seen that there are 1.5 gigas operating in a system in 1.5 years. So according to our calculations, we could be having 7 gigas in a system that has a demand of 10. And in the peak, it would be 12. So it could be 8 gigas in 2 years even. So it depends on who you ask practically, but it grows, it always grows. These are challenges. In Chile, system that is traditional, and today we have a lot of solar energy. That is mainly the resources that we have. There's about a 25% of the matrix that we have today. And the wind input is about 12% plus our water input. We have 35% on average that is variable in terms of energies, and it depends on the times of the day. But we have up to a 90% of solar energy. You have seen in the map that Chile has a corridor to the north to the south, because it is in the north, in Antofagasta, where in Atacama, where we have the main renewable plants. So this is what we need to pay attention to, how to manage this energy. Now, what have we been doing? On the one side, we have a very strong legislation, and we have certain conditions in the market. You know that in the last 10 months, the price of the batteries has been reduced in about an 80%, low prices. And we have power, payment per power. So there's a lot of investment. And what can we do here with batteries? We have two options. We have the option of a battery that will allow us to move time a little bit, the time of energy usage a little bit. And the other thing is how we can use this to manage in an easy way and flexible way this sector. And the other thing is the complementary services. As I was saying before, Chile is hydrothermal traditionally. We are going to be withdrawing the coal plants from here 2040. In the last year, we have retired about 1/3, and we are going to get rid of 2/3 in the next 2 years. So we have the rotative machines that are flexible, but when we take out this attribute, the discussion that we have is that we could be sending a signal of scarcity. So how are we going to complement that? Then batteries are going to have a main role. What we're doing in Chile is that we're talking to the Ministry of Energy in the update and coordination, where we are talking about what are going to be the main conditions. For example, economic conditions. What is the cost of opportunity? How is going to be the dispatch of this unit? In Chile, we also have a mystery. We have a National Commission of Energy, and we have an independent operator that is called the coordinator. So all of this is new. What happens to the remaining energy? We have several things to do here in operations and coordination. But the other thing is that with the Commission of Energies, we are talking about the new rules of the complementary services. And with the coordinator, we are discussing how they are seeing the dispatch system.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
In summary, the current challenge in Chile is to work with the ministry in updating the different regulations, to work with the National Commission of Energy for the complementary services. We're going to be able to develop on this more, and to work with the executive direction in terms of the rules for this infrastructure, for using it in an optimal way, and with clear rules for every player. Thank you very much. Very good. So now we're going to go to Mario. Mario, I would like you to tell us about the main characteristics of the storage facilities of CO2.
No sé si pueden pasar las slides. Me juraron que la tenían.
Sí, no lo prometieron.
Voy
Sí.
contando.
Deben estar ahí.
They told me they have them. Yeah, they have to be there.
Mientras tanto, quiero recordar algo.
So meanwhile, I wanted to tell you something.
Ahí viene.
Exactamente. Panelista
Recording in progress.
de los sistemas iones de litio, battery energy storage system. tecnología. Como
Recording
diría,
in progress.
agua. Parece que, por ejemplo, en países como Chile,
It seems like in countries like Chile, the hydroelectrical plants are not something that they like a lot. It looks like they want other types of fuels. So what are we going to do with long duration?
The Economist dice que para
The Economist says that to decarbonize an electric grid, what you need is long duration energy storage. The next one is the proposal of Energy More, an Italian company. This is something related to expansion and compression with an inertia system that is very similar to others. So this is in synthesis. This is a dome filled with CO2. While there's an electricity nexus, it is stored. This is going to compress CO2, and it achieves it gets to accumulate energy during a long period, and when it is necessary, whatever time it is, 20 hours, whatever, the CO2 is going to expand, this is going to make turbine swirl, and the generator produces energy. It's a system that is conceptually easy, not that easy, of course, but this has a series of benefits that we just started seeing from the commercial point of view.
Sistema hidráulico, naturalmente. Tiene en este momento 74% de eficiencia.
We have a 74% of efficiency right now. It is very flexible.
No depende de metales, no depende de...
It doesn't depend on metals or lithium or other systems.
Está compuesta por
It is made up
investigadores que están creyendo que esta puede ser, entre otras, una respuesta.
Recording
could
stopped.
be a response.
Recording in progress.
Siguiente, esto es del mes de julio, cuando
This is from the month of July,
junto con la propiedad, un pipeline de
when Google started in the property, and with that, a pipeline of data centers. Why data centers? Because this wants to be
electricidad por medio de un tolling agreement, que es algo parecido a un PPA, un tolling agreement.
So we work with
Recording
something called a
stopped.
totally agreement, which is similar
Recording
to a
in
PPA.
progress.
Contrato de 18 años antiguo. Mientras tanto, la siguiente ya está en construcción.
This is under construction in Wisconsin.
Características son 20
The characteristic that is 20 megawatts per 10 hours.
En este
Right
momento
now, we are building it. Alliant is the owner. They buy the plant. We just install and then we operate for a while.
La siguiente que está en construcción es en
The next one that is under construction is in India with NTPC, a big company. This 20 megawatt battery for just 8 hours.
El balance entre compresión
Of course, the balance between compression
es la que hace
and the turbine power is the one that is going to make a difference in hours. The next one is levelized cost of energy. This is a system that doesn't need the RECAPEX, the typical one from the battery, the lithium battery options. It is very much like a combined cycle system, so you maintain the capex for 20, 25 years of consumption. So it is very competitive in terms.
Recording in progress.
Saudi Arabia en este momento estamos cotizando una planta de 1 gigawatt. Son 5 sistemas de 200 megawatt hora en un espacio importante. Más o menos estamos hablando de 5 hectáreas para una planta de 20 megawatt, 200 megawatt hora. Es decir, el espacio es claramente más amplio de un sistema de iones de litio, pero quiero resaltar una vez más. No estamos hablando de cosas parecidas. La batería de iones de litio me parece una solución excelente por todo lo que es el
Seems an excellent solution for the tactical use of energy.
Esto es otra cosa, estamos hablando de sistema más.
Recording in
asignado
progress.
al sector privado, es decir, generación, distribución, transporte está asignado al sector privado.
Transport is assigned to the private sector. The public sector will marca cabezas de superintendents of fuels, right?
Y varios presentes que tienen la conformación totalmente pública no avanzan.
They have the public makeup. It doesn't advance progress at the speed it should, right? It's an expected advance. The answer has to do with planning. It's a decision of advancing towards carbon neutrality for Chile. That's a regulatory obligation. Therefore, it's a First decision is planning. The second decision is the regulation, which has to accompany that decision. That is to say, how you update the regulation. In 2021, you create a law on storage and electromobility, which additionally incorporates electric vehicle batteries as a battery that is recognized due to its condition that contributes to the system. And it also accompanies the decrees and the regulatory updates, which in general, in governments and in this type of market of public policy, always go a bit slower in that technology. Therefore, what public policy must do is to update much more than what we normally update, right? So to Camilo, what Camilo mentioned,
Recording stopped.
private and public
progress.
sector, and they provide feedback on what we need in order to have this roundtable for everyone to be able to attend. And finally, a stakeholder, which is also always outside, which is a citizen. Citizen creates their contribution regarding the robustness of the system, regarding the verification. And I'd say with those 2 points, to be able to plan with the participation of all the stakeholders and to have key goals, to also put the regulation conditions, in this case is 2021, a storage law, which is liable for incorporating the batteries and electromobilities as an agent of the system to later research beyond. Today, we had the minister was going to launch where does decarbonization go with the next 48 concrete purposes, which account for a similar road, right, a known road that talks about regulatory certainty, which we're doing that in governments, right? The decarbonization plan, you
Recording in progress.
Y el diálogo entre sector público, sector privado.
engage in dialogue between the public, the private sector, civil society too. Regarding institutional coordination, what do you believe has been key within our government? To go back to regulations, normative, right? The rules, regulations are created with permanent consultancy to the sector, right? There's a consultation period to receive all observations, and all these are collected, the observations, when the regulation will come out. When the regulation comes out and we need to update, we need to have a new international public consultations, and in the stakeholders and the developers, they're thinking about investing in our country, and they know the rules, the regulations. Therefore, the conversation is diluted, right, from the perspective of all the stakeholders. Thank you, Martha. Now, what about the experience in Buenos Aires? what's the learning that you obtained on market design that drive the storage at a regional level? Thank you very much, everyone, for inviting me to be part of this channel. I'm Esteban Bandan, the Technical Director of IDES Renewables. We're a consultant in renewable energy. We're present across the entire region. Maybe you can tell by my accent, we're based in Buenos Aires, Argentina, but we work practically across all the countries of the region, providing support to the three main legs of this market, the generators, from the generators to the demand side, and also we support governments in decision-making for
Recording in progress.
No voy a decir muy nuevo, pero bastante nuevo, y la regulación es muy dinámica. Las condiciones que se imponen en cada país en cuanto a incentivos o penalidades en una licitación son muy variables. Los mecanismos mediante los cuales se remuneran estos sistemas BES son muy distintos de un país a otro. Entonces es muy más. Lo que estamos viendo es que todas están empezando a ver al BES como un potencial aliado para su optimización de costos de energía, en particular en lo que hace a lo que se conoce como
specifically on what we know as stick shaving, which is to restrict the maximum demand of power to avoid paying
Recording
Lo que nos
stopped.
sucede,
Recording in progress.
varios gobiernos hemos participado como asesores técnicos en el proceso que
And
mencionaste
we've
en
advised many governments. We've participated as technical advisors in the process you mentioned in Barbados. Currently in Jamaica, we're working much on the Alma GDA project. This happened in Argentina.
Recording in progress.
Lo quieren para problemas de
They want
posponer
it
inversiones
for postposing investments in distribution and batteries. What they have, which is great, is that they have endless uses and benefits. And the truth is that based on the use you want to give the battery, we can obtain different mechanisms It's the specific mechanism that we must design specific for that country. So it depends on many parameters, from the most basic ones to how many storage hours we will require from the systems, how much they will require in the systems, and if they will be paid by systems, will be paid by power, energy, if they'll co-localize with solar projects or not necessarily. In some places they'll need pure batteries. In the case, like in the case of Barbados, where there's no hybrid system tender, right, or bid, because they had an issue of photovoltaic and solar, excessive solar and photovoltaic power in the network and the grid that stemmed from licenses that distributed generation, which is something the regulator cannot control. They need batteries to stabilize the system. They can't control that generation. So that's the case of Chile, right, where they had the problem, price practically zero due to the
una
Recording
solución
stopped.
que se vislumbra
Recording in
para que
progress.
las líneas de distribución puedan suplir ese problema. Y lo que se está viendo es que las baterías justamente vienen a resolver ese problema. Entonces, en el caso particular de Argentina, las baterías no vienen a desplazar grandes volúmenes de energía, o no es ese el objetivo que se persigue.
displays large volumes of energy or power. That's not the aim that's sought by batteries, right? But the aim is the injection of
Recording stopped.
que se estén implementando.
Recording in progress.
Claro, vos decís entre distintos países.
You say amongst different countries. Yes.
Para implementación de sistemas de almacenamiento.
You were saying that this is for the implementation of storage. Yes, from the perspective, example, where you purchase energy, cheap energy.
Recording in progress.
Estamos viendo modelos de negocio en donde se están imponiendo, como en muchos lugares del mundo, proyectos híbridos.
Where we have hybrid projects where we put a quota for photovoltaic plus battery one.
Son 200, el objetivo son 200.
Recording stopped.
De vuelta, los
Recording in
modelos de negocio
progress.
son muy distintos, son muy diversos y según el
This
país.
is very different, very diverse, and according to the country, they are going to be adapted to the conditions of the place. Thank you, Esteban. For Pablo.
¿Cómo están incorporando
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Ya, muchas gracias por la invitación.
Thank you very much for the invitation. I want to thank the panelists as well, because I think that we are very much aligned. We are a multinational French group. We have activities in generation and transmission.
Recording in progress.
Esto es una transformación de una empresa en Chile que era esencialmente térmica.
It was essentially thermal, and that in less than 10 years,
Recording stopped.
600 megawatts
Recording in progress.
instalado entre operación y
we have 100 megawatts installed.
y nuestra estrategia fue muy simple, pero
And our strategy is very simple but very clear.
aprovechar nuestros sitios.
We want to benefit from our site and to give visibility as well. It's not one by one. When we think about replacing
Recording in progress.
de nuestras térmicas. Y hoy día tenemos una gestión de nuestro portafolio mucho más segura, que nos da flexibilidad y esto
is much more flexible.
Recording in progress.
décadas. Sabemos cómo funcionan los mercados.
Know
sabemos cómo
how this works. We know how to invest, and we know why we are investing.
de las reglas.
What we don't like is the changes in the rule, the changes in the game in the middle of it. So that's what we want to avoid. For us,
Tema más urgente que tenemos,
this is clearly the most urgent topic.
tema más operacional. O sea,
And I totally agree with the more operational part. It is a challenge.
operar mano a mano,
One thing is to cooperate normally, calling the control room to dispatch 3-4 batteries, and the other thing is the amount that we are dealing with. This has a significant volume. We need to advance. The policies have been policies of state. The ministry changes, but the ministry is from the trust of the president. We also have the committee for finding solutions. Independently on the administration, we can keep talking. And that was something that was very good, and we could take advantage of that fast. So we have this experience installed, that have these experiences, and we can bring them fast to Chile. They have trust on institutionality. The other one is that we have a tradition of public dialogue. In Chile, the regulations are changed through different procedures. We can be more or less in agreement, but we tend to have this dialogue. We make observations. Generally, we have better documents, better represented, and this is a win for the system. Now, what does happen in the particular case of Chile is that the business models have been working faster. So going back now to the complementary systems, it does not have a market of complementary systems that is very modern. Opportunity that with the batteries market, we will have this huge opportunity to make these complementary systems, to give signals, to give signs. First, identifying what are the products that we're going to allocate value to. For example, here in Chile, we are going to have fast control of frequency, flexibility. This is something very good. The other thing is the network or the grid. Now, how are we doing it? We have a different perspective. We think that it's a good opportunity that through a complementary service, we can make modernizations. In Chile, the market has complementary services, so they should have the same logic. The prices are uniform, where we're going to value, and the technologies and companies that use these technologies that are more efficient are going to get the price of this efficiency, not absurd prices that do not have any incentives. It doesn't make any sense to bring in more technology because there is a difference there. And the other thing that is very important, and that was also mentioned, is that we are going to have a lot of variety with different strategies and many different units. Think about 6 operators. So the system with administrative process and with a very controlled price doesn't work. We could, from now, the update of the station. Authority, the work with the market. In other places, but we could start from now, because with that we are going to start recognizing the variety of solutions that we have, and the players start seeing us to think about the offer, and this is going to be combined with these and our we're doing. I think that we should focus on the economic aspect. In Chile, this is the institution that knows the free competition the most, and we need to strengthen this so that the market
Recording in progress.
Muy importante. Tecnología tenemos, financiamiento en Chile también tenemos, voluntades y la regulación. Entonces podríamos tener experiencias regulatorias de calidad y de mejora continua. Lo bueno es que nuestras autoridades tienen una filosofía también de querer siempre mejorar la condición regulatoria.
input. So we have a good ecosystem for that. Developing markets in Latin America.
Estamos running totalmente.
Camilo se comió todo el tiempo.
I think that Camilo took all the time of everyone.
No nos va a dar para hacer preguntas finales, así que...
Straight to the point. Primera cosa. Las baterías iones
First thing,
están entrando sin ningún problema.
the ion batteries are working well, the tactic batteries. And I don't think that you need any more incentive. On the contrary, I think that the new regulation, the new law of storage can identify the systems, the long-term systems, and we can see an important benefit here, so that there are rules that are clear.
La otra cosa es tu pregunta sobre el PIB. Gracias.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Recording stopped. Recording in progress.
Algunos temas de contexto de obviedades.
I
Primero,
brought some topics about, just to give you a bit of context, countries first, each one with their specificities. Yes, in Chile, storage came to solve everything that took us to cause zero rules, so that's the first motivation. In the second place, I wanted to reinforce the planning, by planning with clear goals. Accompanies a regulation in a robust manner, robustness. It's like I did mention before, that the state in the northern part created territory in the northern part of the country. When we saw these were the enabling conditions that were required for the advance of storage, when we talked about the enabling conditions, we had to talk about Western part. We delivered to them to develop their projects. In terms of regulation, we tend to say that it goes slower than technology. It does, but the purpose is to always run towards, well, reaching technology, but put all the background information available for this technology to coexist with what we need to advance in storage. Now, regarding the IDB, there are three clear things: the strengthening of advising to countries regarding costs that help got training. Talk about paying and So IDB is present in developments in Chile. I'd like to thank it. I'd like to highlight. So IDB is present in developments in Chile. I'd like to thank it. I'd like to highlight the support we have in the superintendency of IDB, where we've got the entire superintendency to work with data science and with data governability. State formalities have been accelerated when we go to the next stage. So there's a good experience on how to have other conditions necessary, which is also a headache. Thank you, Martha. It's great to hear that you're working great with my colleagues Lena and Carlos here.
Recording in
Los mercados tienen
progress.
distintos grados de madurez. Veíamos hace un rato los mercados más, digamos, avanzados, en donde hay precios futuros, todo eso.
Advanced markets where there's a future prices that are still have that, but they have energy schedules, right? In order to have that, it would be great to deploy batteries in a much more accelerated manner. And then I'd like to focus on systems according to
Pero seguramente que eso evolucionará, e incluso si
Recording in progress.
seguramente tendrán que ser más horas, y a medida que se van inyectando se va fagocitando a sí mismo el sistema, así que eso habrá que ir viendo cómo. Por otro lado, en procesos más de utility scale, creo que los bancos
En términos de nuevas oportunidades, o sea, Engie hoy día está presente en México, tenemos...
Pero no se escucha.
Ahora se escucha. Ya al menos en México.
Recording in progress.
Estamos muy atentos a lo que está pasando en Brasil.
we're paying a lot of attention to what's happening in Brazil, but clearly The Chilean market has been deploying rapidly, right, and market conditions, and also we've got regulations. We see the opportunity in many markets. We see that there's increasingly more demand. And that, for me, is a contribution of the industry. Technologies were quite agnostic, but yes, we have to find the best solution possible that will be the best for our customer. That's what we seek. Regarding opportunities in other markets, this is it's like going to the doctor, right? There's first a diagnosis, what works in Chile means that will work in other markets, not necessarily. Its topology is fully different. Resources are fully different. It's an exporter, a net exporter country for energy. When we see Brazil, they have much water. When we see Peru, there's much gas. When we see Mexico, every country has different disease going to the metaphor. So first we need to have a diagnosis. So it doesn't work in projects where we can extract information or lessons and to understand how to act. And then I'm going to talk about certainty, right? I think that I want to invest in my country, in a country that has a long-term strategy that is clear. If we don't have that, I don't want to invest timely in a project that won't know, right? Like Vinci, we invest in countries that have a strategy. That's it for me as an investor. Thank you, Paula and Pablo. And
Recording in progress. Recording stopped.
Germany was one
Recording in progress.
20 years ago, energy transition. We are seeing big amount of volatility in the energy market, leading to huge price gaps, price spreads, which is good for the best at this stage. We are seeing as well negative prices in the market. Last year, more than 450 hours of negative pricing in the spot market. And finally, standalone solar PPAs prices are dropping massively. This is a huge challenge for the solar investors, solar developers. Some of them are moving to co-location, so solar and storage, because it's simply the better business case. It's a good time for battery storage in Germany, as I try to explain. We earn 200,000 euro per megawatt per year with a battery, which is a really huge amount. But this is not healthy, right? So the market in Germany is sick, as I said. I read an article recently that the market has fever. So, and the diagnosis is storage gap. So that means we need much more storage in the system in Germany, in Europe, globally. This is very important. Storage is kind of a bridge between demand and supply. So storage. Design the basis for it. This is my recommendation. So put storage in the center of every discussion, the center of the energy policy, the center of regulation. We're also talking to regulators here. Put storage in the center of every discussion. Don't wait and start it now. I think this is very important.
Thank you so much. Y muchas gracias a todos. Les pido un aplauso para este panel.
Thank you very much. A big round of applause for this panel.